Hi, my name's Keith and I'm known as the Florida Stone Man, and today I'm going to be talking to you about a very important topic. A very important, very important topic. This might stay with you for life, and it should, because this is correct. Now, I'm going to talk to you about what's not correct, and I'm a little amped right now. It's actually one day before the solar eclipse, and I'd like to tell you guys, on the solar eclipse, the world's not going to end. You know why? It's because the Bible basically states that God says when the world ends. Not basically states. He states he decides when the world ends. He's not going to make it very known as to exactly when the world will end. It won't be when people know it. Now, we'll have a feeling, but people can't decide when God ends the world, okay? You're not God. Now, on to my next point, and this might be one of those shorter videos, but it might be a trigger video as well. And I've made a YouTube short and a video about this, but take your pen and notepad and write down every single person you know. It doesn't matter who they are. It doesn't matter who they are. If you're right, you're right. If you're wrong, you're wrong. Whoever said the world's going to end on April 8th, these people are, I have to say, they're dangerous. Even if you're someone just passing along misinformation, misinformation is dangerous. And some people might be watching this video, oh, I was one of those people. Okay, you don't have to tell anyone. Just know this for yourself. And people are like, well, this hurts, Stone Man. I do have to tell you, you either have God or you don't have God. You trust in the Most High God or you don't have trust in Him. Are you going to freak out when the world ends when God's here? No, because you're close to God. If you're going to live in fear, God lets you do that by yourself. Fear and faith don't fit in the same space. Unless it's the fear that, okay, what are you going to do in case this happens? You'll trust in God and you'll do the most you can do, which is be aligned, to be correct. But if you're running around, people are quitting their jobs or whatever. People are just like selling things, like basically like having doing their bucket lists and stuff like that. It's not cool. So step one, and this is very important because these are the same people, and they will flat out disappear for a couple months until people forget about them. And then they'll do the same exact thing maybe when an event a little bit the same comes around. They can go into hiding for a year. So people will flat out just, oh, the world's gonna end for about a couple of weeks. And some people, they'll scare so many people to the point where, oh, don't do this or this will happen. And they'll have people manifest fear. It's the same thing as cursing someone. It's the same exact thing as cursing someone. These people will live in fear. These are people who were just doing fine before someone came along and scared them. Was that fear necessary? No, because if you trust in God, you don't have fear like that. You can't have God and have fear in the same space. It tells God, I don't trust you. I flat out don't trust you. I'm going to give you an example. If you're driving with someone in the car and you trust them as a driver. You're going to drive in the same car with them, but if you're too scared to drive with that person in the car, then guess what? That person's getting out. I'm afraid of like the way you drive, maybe going a little too fast, maybe too slow. Well, if you trust them, you'll stay in the same car as them and you won't really comment. You'll just trust them. You can ask the person to slow down or whatever, but the thing is, fear and faith don't go in the same place. Tongue twister. I'm very excited to teach this topic because I'm sick of seeing the same people over and over again. Someone on TikTok about 5 times in the past year has announced the end of the world, and all these people have believed it. But the people who believe it, I'm gonna flat out say the people who believe that it's the flat out end of the world, they have a whole bunch of things that don't best serve them, and their connection with God is it's like limited because they trust in something a man says versus trusting in something the Bible says. So yeah, it's all stated as to what's going to happen. God knows when the world will end. Humans don't. We can't be deciding for God when the world ends. We can't. You just flat out can't say, okay, Jesus is coming back on this date. You can say, you can think that might happen, but you can't state that as a fact. You really can't. I don't want to say it's blasphemous, but it's just not cool. Okay, it's messed up, and these people are just pumping. And these you'll have to remember this video because all these people seem to forget. That's why patterns don't work for people. It's because people will flat out forget that they'll just claim to have forgotten whatever they just said about some giant statement. And these people will spread fear. when you spread fear, it's the same thing as spreading a curse, because these people manifest for the next 6 months to whatever. I mean, even from the last eclipse, people in the last eclipse said the world would end, and guess what they did? They freaked people out so much to the point where they manifested months or even years of them just having nothing but fear, because they put out such a high frequency of low vibration that they've attracted that into their life, and now they're reaping the seeds they sow. You have to keep in mind, one little tiny thing we say can affect us for months. It's not cool. So even a little tiny thing, if you say, okay, I believe this person feels good about me, then that person will feel good about you whether you think it or not. And that's why, like, that's just an example of relationships. For example, if there's a friendship, I have a feeling this person trusts me versus I have a feeling this person doesn't trust me. And you're going to manifest that regardless. So what happens when you don't trust God? It's like, you're going to manifest situations that are just faithless situations. And remember, guys, take down a pen and notepad and write down every single person. Write down every single person who just told you the world's going to end, and don't listen to them. This is not a bashful video. This is an education video. So when something's not true, when something's not right, get in a habit. And if you're that person, it's okay. We're humans. We can't be right 100% of the time, but not when you're wrong. Hiding from the fact that you're wrong doesn't make you a better person. It puts you backwards. And guess what? God will bring up lessons from your past to make sure you confront them again in the future. And if you don't confront them again in the future, then guess what? You're gonna live the same lessons again, and your blessings just won't come to you. You'll be stuck at the same spot in life, and the same lesson will replay over and over again just because you didn't learn. And this might be like, for some people, it might be, some of the people who thought the world was gonna end, this might feel like one of those videos where I'm yelling at you. Well, it's not yelling at you, it's waking you up. Because guess what? The next 5, 10, 20 times this happens in your lifetime, you're gonna manifest so much fear just by listening to what someone said and passing along misinformation, to the point where you could just save yourself the time. So when people do this, don't listen. Trust in God. Maybe this is even a better time. And yeah, I'm looking over my shoulder because it could be alligators. This could be even a better time for you to move closer to God. So when you're tested like that, like, okay, if you feel any kind of fear or anxiousness, this is the best time to move closer to God. Because you say, okay, God, this is how much I trust you. This might be freaking me out a little bit, but I trust in you, God, so much. I trust that you love me so much that I will not fear. I will not panic. I give myself to you, God. Practice that. So if you're feeling anxiousness, if you're feeling fear, and guess what happens after? You've moved closer to God because it was the unknown that freaked you out. So for people who use this time, I'm not freaked out by it. I know exactly what's going to happen because people have been it's a pattern. It's literally a pattern. People have done this every single eclipse. It might be different, but it's still a pattern. Now, people he yelled at me. I woke you up. Now, if it's someone you know who's a friend, and that's a friend, and the friend is telling you that they're freaking out and stuff like that, now this is a time to be a good friend. This is a time to be a good friend and tell that person, like, hey, you get to calm them down. Versus people who have, I'm not going to say bad friends, but less than positively influencing factors, somewhat negative element imposing people, aka people who are being negative and dragging your frequency down. I don't sugarcoat it. I will word it in different ways because maybe it'll process differently, but I'll never ever sugarcoat it. So get used to identifying these people. Okay, the world just ended. Maybe for you, but not for me. Okay, I'm enjoying my life, etc. So move closer to God. Like I said, this might be one of those shorter videos. You have to. And there will be occasions where every now and then, I mean, because this is just a major thing. Patterns don't emerge out of nowhere. So for the people who are like, oh, this is the end of the world, are the same people who freak out over the little small things and they don't realize they're doing it, and they'll try to blame it on something else. And it's all about self-accountability here and trust. Self-accountability, trust. Which were some of the daily archangel messages. I might switch some of my YouTube shorts and YouTube other things to being shorter just because it's called a short, and daily archangel messages are sometimes lengthy sometimes. So we'll see if I'll keep doing those. Maybe I'll just do them on lives. But back to my topic. You're going to see a bunch of people act like nothing happened afterwards. And take note of those people. Take note, I mean, because guess what happens? You have to understand the frequency of fear is low. It's low. So for people who are flipping out, someone's pouring white wine. I can smell it from a distance. And when you fast and you open clear aliens, you can start smelling things from a distance. I'm at a park right now, so it doesn't surprise me. I think people are enjoying their evening. Yep, I see it. But okay, so the thing is, fear is such a low frequency. It will attract poverty. It'll attract desperate situations. It'll push people away from you, because you better believe, it'll ruin relationships. If you're in a state of fear, you're gonna, because that person, whoever you're with as a friend or as a romantic partner, etc., marriage, when they feel that fear, it makes them anxious. And you could be anxious in general, but they might not feel it like that until you claim fear. So if you're a little bit anxious, it could be something you're turning into excitement, and you don't realize it, so that person doesn't feel that as you being anxious. Versus you starting to claim things with your words, such as, oh, the world's gonna end, and then you're freaking people out. So pumping people with fear, because that person might have felt fine until they came around you. And I'm not talking about you example, I'm talking about people who are just flat out filled with fear. It's because that frequency will scare abundance away. It will push abundance away from months. So you choosing to believe that the world ends on the eclipse, and I know I'm not wrong, because I trust in God. I trust in God to the point where what he says in the Bible is exactly that. He decides the end of the world, not man. Don't believe in man. And I see people on, this is a topic for another video, for people like, but we are our own gods. What did the serpent say to Eve and Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden? Do you not realize that was the exact same line? People who say that, they never get ahead. People are like, I am my own God. Those people never get ahead, ever. They lose everything. They actually, the biggest thing that pops up with those people is issues with health, like spiritual health, because this is a spiritual channel. So disclaimer, that's the thing. And I'll say that to some people sometimes. You're like, well, I am my own God. I'm like, okay, why don't you have a successful, happy relationship? Why don't you have the abundance you desire? Why are you having all these different health things going on? Why do you repel people? Like, if you're your own God, what kind of God are you? You give thanks to the Most High God, because once a human starts calling themselves God, they go down the toilet. People don't want to hear that, but people can't figure out why their lives are in shambles. And these are the same kind of people who are making predictions. Oh, the world's gonna end, I say. Like, no. And they're filling people with fear. So ignore these people. And I'm gonna end this video on this topic. Not only do you take note of the people who are saying this stuff, go back into what they said in the past. These people are the same people that say the same thing over and over again, and these people lack abundance. And if you're one of them, then I'm not being mean to you, but this will destroy your abundance, believing in people just filling you with fear. Let's just say the world did end on April 8th. Trust in God so much to the point where you feel his love that he just takes the fear off of you and it moves you closer to him. Versus you choosing to have fear will manifest everything dark for you. It'll get dark because you didn't trust in the light. If any questions, ask in the comment section. Check out FloridaStoneman.com. I do highly recommend black tourmaline on the solar eclipse. So wear your black tourmaline as necklaces that you get from me, or as bracelets. I'll have them as rings soon too. But understand, God is God. You do not worry about things that you cannot control. If you can control them, then work on them. If you can't control them, give them straight to him. He's the Most High. That's that. Write down the names. Get a red pen and write down these people's names. Till then, I'll see you guys next time. Ciao.